Let's do this. It's the weekend. Thank you all for coming. Shout out to Sir Winston and to T&D Tesla for making it and being there. Wow, what a week. Another great week. And let me know if you guys can hear me. I assume you can. But happy Saturday anyway. The crypto market cap's $1.65 trillion. Another 65 trillion. Bitcoin is exactly at 44,000 as we speak. ETH about 2350. And what else is going on? Well, Fear and Greed is 73. So everything's been kind of stable. But that's what happens. We'll talk about how things are stable as well. Hudson the dog, thank you for coming in. Yeah, sound good. Good, excellent. Yeah, we got some sound things. Anyway, let's jump ahead and talk about what's going on in the world. But before I do, this is a disclaimer. Everything I do is just edutainment. Don't forget to subscribe. I won't waste your time, but you will enjoy this. First of all, last week, in terms of Bitcoin, Nick M up there in Canada, hello, I hope it's not too cold. You can see here, obviously everything's divided by Bitcoin, so Bitcoin doesn't go anywhere. But you can see a couple of dark green spots, Cardano and Avalanche, I'll talk about them, Polkadot as well, and others down against Bitcoin. ETH did not beat it this week. Binance lost 8%. XRP lost nearly 3.5%. Solana made 10%. Let's look at it in melting fiat terms. You can see Solana up another 27%. Cardano up a whopping, I can't remember, like 50% or something. Doge up green. Everything up. It's been a really, really good week. Bitcoin up another 13.7% on top of another great time. Let's put things in perspective as to where we've come from as well. This is how we track what's going on month to month. And normally November is the best month for Bitcoin, but December, as we expected, the action from November was muted because we went up nearly 30% in October. And now things are happening in September, and I do believe we're going to have a pre-Christmas run into New Year's. But so far, we're up 17.03% for the month, which is really good, way above average as well. And it's been overall a pretty good year. The worst month so far this year is August, down 11%, and then May, down 7%. The rest of the time, it's just been up, which is not bad. Now, I will warn you all, there's a couple of things I will say today during this video that may be offensive to some, but I don't care. But the offensive stuff comes from Grok, not from me. But boy, was I laughing my head off. Grok has the courage to say things that I believe in, but we'll get back to that later as well. Let's look at Bitcoin versus the dollar index versus the 10-year yield versus inflation. And you can see here, a lot of people believe, oh, well, when the Dixie goes down, Bitcoin goes up. But this chart proves that the Dixie can go up and Bitcoin can be flat. So that throws that theory out the window a little bit. And it just shows you kind of the economics and how they played out basically for the last 6 months. And they've been really good, especially since October. Bitcoin has been on fire. Dollar index has been down though a little bit, but so have other things. The CPI, which is the green, has fallen a little bit. 10-year yield has fallen. And that's actually good for risk assets. So, interesting stuff there. In addition, this is from the team at Glassnode. We've known for over 11 months we're in early bull. It was pretty clear what was happening, especially with the on-chain data. But this one is interesting. This is now the early bull is dead, I'm afraid. Sorry, Bully. That's Bully back there. And Bully's been with me all the time, actually. I get my spiritual guidance from Bully. We also have Polly the bear, but that's a separate thing. We don't see much of him these days. But the other thing is, early bull is dead, but we are now full bull, which is awesome. This is the most bullish chart for me, and another sign of full bull for Bitcoin. We are now seeing significant divergence between the realized price and the long-term holder realized price. Notice the vertical trajectory of the short-term holder realized price. So to point out those colors, short-term holder realized price is kind of that pink. The black, of course, is the price. And the, what's the other one? The gold is the Bitcoin realized price, which is kind of stays more or less flat, especially when the long-term holders aren't changing too much. But this is extremely positive. The RP is 21,000, realized price is 21,376. which is a year-to-date high. The short-term holder realized price is now $33,013, which is a year-to-date high, and the long-term holder realized price is $20,840. So nothing but goodness all around. And as I covered in yesterday's video, nobody is selling. Everybody is hodling. They know where this is going. We'll talk a bit more about that in a minute too. It's some other fantastic news. But let's look at the Bitcoin risk reward. 74%. This is from Fidelity, Jury and Trimmer. Between 2020 and 2023, if you had a bag of different stuff, maybe some, I don't know, some Chinese stocks, some S&P 500, some bonds, some emerging markets, some whatever equities you want to throw in there, they're all cluttered down the bottom left-hand corner. But up to the top right is what's getting the attention of Wall Street and BlackRock and Fidelity and Nomura Bank and you name it. Everybody except for Vanguard, because they are dinosaurs. They make so much money off selling you crappy mutual funds that they do not want to embrace any of this stuff that will make the rest of their funds look like trash. Therefore, it's rat poison. This picture tells you what you need to know and how you need to allocate, everybody, okay? Allocations matter. Now, I did share this about 5 days ago. This is kind of my view of, I put things in steps, and I'm beginning to see this be adopted as well in different places. But these are the steps just over the past month or so. And I have step 1. Let me try to blow it up so I can read the actual number because I don't know. It's a tweet, so it's a little bit fuzzy to me. Anyway, I think step 1 was around 35, and then step 2 around 37, and step 3 around 39. And then step 4 was, I don't remember. Anyway, we're at step 6 now. And the question is, what happens after step 6? The key thing really of this all is not so much the steps or how far they are apart, but the distance between the steps is growing, which is a good thing. But you'll see the constant buying pressure. There's a step, there's a breather. There's a step, there's a breather. And it goes on and on and on. Now we're at that, exactly as we speak, we're at step 6, which is at 44,000. And what's going to happen next? It'll be a bounce to 46 or 48,000. That's just what's going to happen. Nobody is selling. Things get stacked fast. There's a spike in the market, and then things settle for a few days, and then it'll spike again. Step 7 is coming. It's going to be higher than step 6. I just don't know when it's going to hit. Probably sometime in the next 7 to 10 days, probably earlier as well. So watch this space carefully. In addition, just to prove as well how early we are, thank you so much, Andy. The Australians are up. Hello, Australia. Hello, New Zealand. This is the internet search records. Excuse the language, but all you need to know is blue is Bitcoin. And you can see it is so early. The orange is kind of crypto as well. Now, what that means is we are far off any type of high interest times in Bitcoin. And it also shows that the people that are stacking right now, they are institutions. Retail hasn't joined the party fully yet. Some of them have. Some of them who are waiting for that magical $11,000 or $3,000 Bitcoin, they decided to bite the bullet last week. I shared that in a chart yesterday, I think, as well. They decided, okay, it's too late. I've just got to pay this. I'm not going to get my magical fill at a very low price. So they're buying at 43, 44K. But this shows you that the global search on Google for Bitcoin has not hit yet. Those times will come. When we get our $10,000 God candle, woohoo, watch this one spike. Now, liquidity is back, which is good. I've been talking a lot about liquidity lately. And this shows you how liquidity matters. And this is the rotation out of the reverse repurchases programs. And they provide the catalyst for the latest rally. And as soon as rates stabilize at lower levels, all the pigs will pull their porky snouts out of the reverse repo through trough at the Fed and cash out their 3-month treasuries and bills and stick it in risk assets and the stock market. And that's going to happen very early in 2024. That's why I believe 2023 has been a great year for stocks. I mean, so many things would have 300% plus, some 500%. But I think next year will be even better. So watch this space carefully because the liquidity is coming. And I can point you to 20 different indicators that proves that. Now, this was another interesting tweet this week from Michael Saylor. Would you sell? And if so, at what price? His question was, how high will Bitcoin need to rise before you consider selling a small portion of your Bitcoin? Not your entire bag, a small piece. So, granted, you could argue the questions could have been phrased a little bit differently. Like you could have thrown a 67K or 65K or 70K in there as well. But we'll just take it as is. And what's interesting is some might nibble a small sale at 100,000, 30.9%. And 20%, call it 19%, would wait for 250K, 14% for $500,000. But the vast majority will wait for $1 million or never. And that is striking. That is a scary survey. Let me see how many people filled it out. 130,000 votes. This is what BlackRock does not want to see. Prying Bitcoin from people's cold hands or cold dead hands, whatever that guy used to say, the famous actor, will be difficult, especially when 36.3% are waiting for $1 million. Or even in there's people that'll never sell. That's what's so interesting about this thing. Okay? But there's more. There's a lot more news as well. Let's look at some altcoins too. And this week, basically, we saw everything surge upwards. With the average median week-over-week increase of 19.3% and 16% respectively. And so alt L1s, including Cardano and Avalanche, leading the pack with 35% and 43% week-over-week gains. And majors, including Bitcoin and ETH, were up double digits. And everything is really, really hot in crypto right now. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ increased, I think, about 0.9% and 0.5%. Not much there, but it was the S&P booking the longest weekly win streak in over 4 years, which is a little bit positive. Anyway, some of the coins that didn't move all bull run all of a sudden came to life this week. That's the point I'm trying to make. Mr. Hammer, good to see you, my friend. Now let's look at some of the deltas where the action is in our dashboard here, where we break it all down. So first of all, price action. Avalanche is the winner for the week. TVL growth, Solana is the winner for the week. Fee growth, Avalanche is the winner for the week. Development growth, Arbitrum is the winner for the week. And the 7-day active addresses, Near and Solana are the winners for the week. Transactions, Avalanche is the winner. So basically, Avalanche dominated in 3 categories: price, fee growth, and transactions. And Solana secured the top spot in TVL. And Arbitrum showed strong developer activity. And Near and Solana had huge spikes in active addresses. So that's that big eye chart out of the way. But let's talk about Near. I get pinged a lot. What about Near? What about Near? Can you do a should I buy, etc.? I will revisit it. And it is one of the better ones. But there's a few things that I do not like. I benchmark stuff and I try find extraordinary value. This is why I don't own Near, but Near is not bad. Of all the other categories, definitely not the worst, but I keep getting pinged. So here, I'm going to give it some love right now. Near Protocol reaches its highest price since April. $3 is next. We shall see. That was a little thing. Let's look at the chart as to where Near is right now. And one of the reasons I don't like Near is because of the compendium score. And that's kind of my Bible when it comes to making crypto investments. But you can see here the chart. It's still 88.5% from its all-time high. But it is off the bottom, which is good. But it's far away from layer 1. Which means it's coming alive. And yes, it will go up, but the question is, will it get back to all-time highs? Well, the way this market is working right now, nothing would surprise me. We are moving so much faster, so much higher, so much sooner. It's insane. Absolutely insane. Caught everybody off guard, everybody by surprise. I was bullish. I'm considered a bullish guy, but I would never have guessed we've gone so far so fast with so many names. So that's a little bit on Near. Let's look at some DEX volumes as well, which is super interesting. We saw a lot of tipping points here over the last week in NFT volumes, etc. But remember, Ethereum is still the 800-pound gorilla with about $1.42 billion as of yesterday in DEX volume. Solana is now number 2, 770.36 million, and Arbitrum number 3, 638 million. Then you go Polygon 192, Avalanche 184, Optimism 109, Sui 29, Base 19, Cardano $14 million. What's interesting about that is, remember, ETH is twice the DEX volume of Solana right now. It varies day to day, but it's 104 times. ETH is 104 times the DEX volume of Cardano, just to put things in perspective. Phantom 5 million and Aptos 2 million, which is nothing. So you can see here, as always, the big guys grab most. That's just a simple fact of life in the world today. Now, per sentiment as well, they discovered that there were 3 trending coins this week: JITO, Sol, and ETH. I spoke a bit about JITO yesterday. We were digging into it. And that is interesting. So JITO is number 1, Solana is number 2, and Ethereum is number 3 as we go forward in terms of the buzz. And I could nearly have told you this because I get pinged so many times. JITO. What's going on with JITO? Obviously, it had a great week too. Now let's look at the top development activity, which was triggered by the master dashboard. This is a drill into it. This is the weekly activity. Let me get this right. Weekly active developers on the top bar, and then the bottom bar is the weekly commits. So the first top 3 are ETH, number 1, with nearly 2,000 weekly active developers. Number 2, Polkadot, with over 580 weekly active developers. And then Cosmos, number 3, with just about 500. Sol is number 4, Bitcoin number 5. Now, when it comes to SCP ecosystem weekly commits, Ethereum number 1, DOT number 2, Sol number 3, Cosmos number 4, Bitcoin number 5. And this is valid data pulled in from 2 separate sources that we pay for. And a lot of people that hold bags and other stuff will say, no, it's all wrong. No, my chain is the best because I read it on Twitter. Nope, we're about data here. Speaking of data, this did cause a bit of consternation, and I was asked to address it. And this is where I brought Grok in. Grok is my new friend to help me address it. So this upset a lot of people, and they are pretty strong words. It's from Bitcoin News. Charles Hoskins said, I don't see how it survives. I don't see how Bitcoin survives. It's a religion, not an ecosystem. Hash rate will fall, and it will die a slow heat death. Weird. Okay, so sell your Bitcoin and buy Cardano? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. So I asked Grok, what's going on? I said on Charles Hoskinson about his thoughts on Bitcoin and can he be trusted? And Grok came out with this, and he said, well, it seems like Charles Hoskinson has been caught with his pants on fire. According to Laura Shin's book, he's been pretending to be a CIA agent and lying about his education credentials. Talk about a plot twist worthy of a soap opera. Now, let's talk about why he might be a sociopath. Sociopaths are known for their charming personalities and ability to manipulate others. They often lie and deceive to get what they want. If Shin's book is to be believed, Hoskin fits the bill perfectly. And this is Grok, not me, just Grok, and it's a very entertaining AI, by the way. And I didn't even set it on entertaining mode, it was just straight raw. But time will tell what happens. But for this guy to come out and say Bitcoin's dying and it's going to die a heat death, whatever heat death is, I'm not sure. I thought it was kind of weird. All right. So be careful what you hear from people. Look at data. I was actually going to do a face-off between Bitcoin and Cardano, but the point is you can't, because one is a store of value. The other one's a layer 1. So it's like apples and oranges. You can't do that. He should be focused on winning layer 1s. Okay? Not on sticking a knife in Bitcoin. Anyway, that's my opinion. That's my opinion. And check the comments. Go to Bitcoin News on Twitter. Look at the comments beneath this, and you'll have a laugh yourself. Now, stocks did finish a pretty good week. Most things up kind of 2.5%. It seems to be a very common number. Meta, Google, Apple, Tesla, Lilly. It's like the 2.5% seemed to be the number of the week for many of these names, which I thought was kind of funny. trying to find patterns and things. But I do have another thing where I had to ask Grok's advice. So sometimes people send me clips like this analyst is telling a story about Tesla, and he says the growth story is over for Tesla. So, and I get this, about three of these talking heads on TV this week, and they're supposed to be financial analysts that study data, and they're supposed to be smart. But what they're saying is so wrong that either they're robots, or they're psyops, or they're liars. I don't know which one. So let's counter this. Now, first of all, I go to Grok on Analysts, and I just said to Grok, literally, I said, who are the top 5 worst analysts for Tesla? Okay, maybe it was a skewed question, but anyway. Tony, which is the guy in the previous screenshot from Bernstein, said, Tony Sacconacci, the sack of confusion, has a success rate of 53%. He's like a coin tosser who always picks heads, and when it lands on tails, he insists it was just a practice toss. Okay, well, let's get into the data here, because that's what we care about. So first of all, growth is dead. The Tesla growth story is over. Okay, let's look at some numbers for a second. Tesla Giga Shanghai set a new production record of 90,802 Model Ys and Model 3s in November. And 60.5% of the Model Y remains the dominant model. Model 3, after the Highland upgrade, is up 79% from August, and its record levels, etc., are kind of crazy. A lot of people believe a lot of people are buying this new Model 3 as a Christmas present for gifts. So yes, growth is not over at all. In fact, Model Y standard range is now sold out in China for 2023. Gone. They are pumping these things out faster and faster every single day, and they're selling out before they're even made. Then we have France. Let's go to Europe for a second. Hello to everybody in France. The demand for Model 3 is off the hook. It beat Model Y. Okay, over 6,000 units versus 3,200. And I looked up a car called a Dacia Spring. I had no idea what that was. But the Teslas go 0 to 60 in 5 seconds or so. This thing takes 19 seconds to go 0 to 60. So it's not even in the same league. But anyway, France is awake. They're buying BEVs hand over fist. And they like the Model 3. Certain European countries like smaller cars. They like sedans. They don't like mini SUVs like the Model Y. But that was interesting too. And in addition, just a reminder, over 2.1 million people on the waiting list. And after many surveys this week, many people have no problem waiting 5 years for this car. They know they're going to have to wait. And that is pretty incredible. And the futuristic looking car, it's loved and hated by everybody, but it doesn't matter because it's the most pre-ordered car in the history of the world. Okay, so growth from this guy. The growth story is over for Tesla. No, it's not. Tesla's just a car company. No, it's not. This is their Dojo supercomputer tile. And what's crazy about this is normally car companies, they outsource everything to level 1, level 2, level 3 suppliers, etc. But what's crazy about this is Tesla build and design most everything themselves. Their whole 48-volt vehicle, which is the Cybertruck, every single light bulb, every single connector is custom for this car. Nobody knew how to make this stuff before. But let's talk about this one for a second because this is incredible. This is the Tesla Dojo supercomputer tile. It's smart and it's beautiful. And one tile can do 9 quadrillion floating point calculations per second. And it's purely optimized for AI training. And each 15 kilowatt tile holds a 5x5 array of blocks. And that's all I can remember. But the point is, this thing has 1.1 or 120 of these has 1.1 exaflops, and they're building a stack of them, and they will have the 5th, at least a top 5 supercomputer by the Q1 of 2024. Running these things optimized for training on AI, which will support the Optimus bot and FSD, which are Tesla vehicles are robots on wheels. They're not cars. When people are worried about the stitching in a Porsche is much better than the stitching in a Tesla. It's not, you don't buy the Tesla for the stitching. But if you buy a car for stitching, well, you're buying it for the wrong reasons. In addition, some sad news, especially for the people involved in real estate here. This was a stunning statistic for me. 44% of all single-family homes purchases in 2023 were by private equity firms. Okay, the American dream is dying. Okay, you know, government officials give away free money to kind of garner votes, etc. But this is really, really sad when you know the big banks, etc., are coming together, they're buying all the houses to create a society of renters. I always stress, own your castle. One of the easiest ways to get wealthy is real estate, right off the tax interest, etc. So these guys, these big banks, you know, I can't remember the other ones, Blackpool and BlackRock and Black this and Black that. Anyway, they're buying all the houses. So you can't, speaking of banks, a lot of, not the money center banks, but all the community regional banks, they are in super hot water. The BTFP is looking more permanent, and it brings a sobering reality about globalism and the monetary alchemy of the Fed. That's the creation of money and hiding in little boxes and pockets. The Fed cannot allow a prolonged recession to occur due to bank failures, and it would make the US less desirable on the world stage for new capital allocators. In addition, you can see here this facility that's engineered to stave off the failures of financial institutions keeps on growing. Scary times indeed. So, and again, this is not just happening in the US, same stuff is happening all over the world. I don't know if big banks are buying homes, like 44% of them here in Australia and Canada and other places, but maybe parts of Europe. So on that dark note, I have a bright note. I will be on the internet 3 times tomorrow. 6 a.m. with Herbert Wong. We're going to go through the detailed Tesla valuation model like you have never seen before. So I had my assumptions, and we worked through every single one, and we tweaked them, and modified them, and came out with our new Tesla valuation model. And when you see this, remember, this is a point of time. It's a valuation of a specific year. But the markets look forward, okay? So don't think of the price predictions as of, say, 2027 or 2023 or 2025. They are the actual value of the business at that point in time, based on many assumptions. And then 8:30 a.m. Pacific, all these times are Pacific. I'll be on with Rand from Crypto Banter. We've been trying to set something up for a long time. And then live Q&A at around 12 noon Pacific. So you can pick and choose what you want, but you'll see a very broad set of information for all of these as well. And a big thank you to everybody on Patreon. But don't they say Sunday's a day of rest? Yeah. I don't know. Don't think so. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to everyone on Patreon. Got my little Patreon mug too. Yay. And have a great weekend, everybody. I forgot to check on the markets. Oh, Bitcoin is still at that step. It's $62 away from 44,000. Anything else pumping? Everything's kind of quiet. It's always quiet before the storm, though. Remember that. It's like the assets fill their lungs before they go up the next step. So, and by the way, I think Solana hit 77.7 last night, which is crazy to think it's gone up over 800, 900% since a year ago. Anyway, thank you all for being here. See you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.